You may be feeling accomplished, strong, and content with the path you've taken in life. You've nurtured relationships, built a career, or perhaps raised a family. These are all significant and beautiful milestones that signify growth and maturity in the tangible aspects of existence. But what about the spiritual aspect of your being? Physical growth is something we can all witness. We see ourselves in the mirror each day, aging, changing, and evolving. Yet spiritual growth is an inner journey that's often concealed, delicate, and mysterious. Many times we believe we have reached a certain spiritual pinnacle, but deep within our hearts, we might still be spiritually immature without even realizing it. As the great philosopher Socrates once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." This wisdom urges you to turn your gaze inward and scrutinize the spiritual dimension of your life. Are you truly mature in your understanding of yourself, your connections with others, the universe, and the divine? Here are 7 signs that you might be spiritually immature. You seek external recognition of your internal growth. Seeking external recognition or validation for your internal growth can be a clear sign of spiritual immaturity. While it's human nature to desire acknowledgement and appreciation, a mature spiritual person recognizes that true growth and fulfillment come from within. The journey towards spiritual maturity is intensely personal, and its rewards are often subtle, profound, and internalized. Seeking approval or recognition from others for this growth can detract from the authentic experience of self-discovery. It is important to understand that your spiritual journey is for yourself and not for others to applaud or approve. Validation from others can be fleeting and conditional, while self-acceptance and internal recognition are lasting and unconditional. Focus on internal validation. It's the most authentic form of acknowledgement. By embracing your internal growth without needing external validation, you stay true to yourself and your unique spiritual path. You resist change. Resistance to change is a common human tendency, but can be particularly indicative of spiritual immaturity. This resistance may manifest as a fear of the unknown, a clinging to comfort zones, or a stubborn refusal to grow and adapt. You may struggle to let go of old patterns, like bad habits. It can stifle personal development and hinder the journey towards deeper understanding and spiritual growth. Spiritual maturity often requires the flexibility to adapt, the willingness to let go of old patterns, and the courage to embrace new perspectives. However, embracing change doesn't mean that it always comes easily or without fear and discomfort. Change can be challenging, but it's often through these challenges that the most significant growth occurs. You are not interested in growing spiritually. The reason you are not interested in growing spiritually is the mindset that often stems from a misunderstanding of what spirituality truly is, or a resistance to self-examination and change. It might be accompanied by a focus on materialistic values, a disregard for inner development, or a lack of curiosity about life's deeper meanings. Not being interested in spiritual growth can lead to a life that feels superficial or lacking in depth. It might result in a focus on external success, possessions, or status, while neglecting the inner development that leads to true fulfillment and happiness. On the other hand, an interest in spiritual growth is not about conforming to specific beliefs or following a particular path. It's about a willingness to explore, question, and seek understanding. It's a journey towards greater self-awareness, empathy, and connection with others and the world around you. Spiritual growth often requires courage, openness, and humility. It involves recognizing that you don't have all the answers and that there's always room to learn, grow, and evolve. This willingness to grow is at the heart of spiritual maturity. Getting angry that things are not getting better. This sign of spiritual immaturity manifests in frustration and anger over life's circumstances not improving, despite efforts or expectations. Getting angry that things are not getting better often stems from unrealistic expectations, lack of acceptance, and impatience with life's natural rhythm. It can blind you to the opportunities for growth that lie within your challenges, creating a barrier to spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity involves understanding that life is filled with ups and downs. It requires the wisdom to see that your challenges are not just obstacles, but opportunities for growth, learning, and transformation. You use spirituality to avoid pain. Instead of facing it, using spirituality as a means to escape or numb pain, rather than face it, is a common sign of spiritual immaturity. This approach might manifest in overly positive thinking, ignoring negative emotions, or engaging in spiritual practices solely to feel good, all the while avoiding the underlying issues that cause pain. Avoidance of pain by wrapping oneself in spirituality can lead to a superficial understanding of both oneself and the spiritual journey. This denial prevents the deep healing and growth that often come from facing and working through painful experiences. Spirituality isn't about escaping reality or using blissful experiences to avoid pain. It's about embracing the full spectrum of human existence. This includes facing your pain, understanding it, learning from it, and growing through the process. Pema Chodron, a well-known Buddhist teacher, said, "We think that the point is to pass the test or overcome the problem, but the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. Using spirituality to face pain rather than avoid it leads to a richer, more authentic spiritual journey. It's a path that recognizes the complexities and challenges of life, yet also sees the opportunities for growth and transformation that they provide. Believing that if you behave well, good things will happen to you. This belief is commonly tied to a simplistic understanding of karma, or the principle of cause and effect. While acting ethically and with integrity is undoubtedly virtuous, the expectation that good behavior will automatically lead to good outcomes can lead to disappointment and a misunderstanding of life's complexities. The belief that good behavior automatically leads to good outcomes can create an imbalanced view of the world. It can result in feelings of entitlement or, conversely, feelings of unfairness when good actions don't lead to immediate positive results. The world is complex, and many factors contribute to the outcomes you experience. Understanding that good deeds are valuable in and of themselves without expecting a reward is a mark of spiritual maturity. It fosters a more profound appreciation for the inherent value of kindness, compassion, and integrity. In contrast, spiritual maturity recognizes the complexity of life and the multidimensional nature of cause and effect. It appreciates goodness and virtue for their inherent value, not for the tangible rewards they may or may not bring. This nuanced perspective encourages you to act with integrity and kindness, simply because it's the right thing to do, not because you're seeking personal gain. It allows you to navigate life with a deeper understanding of the human experience and leads to a more authentic and fulfilling spiritual journey. Inability to forgive. An inability to forgive, whether it's others or oneself, often indicates a lack of spiritual maturity. Holding on to grudges, anger, and resentment can be like carrying a heavy burden that weighs down the soul. This refusal to forgive can create barriers to love, empathy, and understanding, limiting personal growth and spiritual development. The inability to forgive often stems from hurt, fear, or perceived injustice. While these feelings are valid and must be acknowledged, holding on to them can become toxic over time. Spiritual maturity recognizes that forgiveness is not about excusing or forgetting harm done. It's about releasing the hold that these events have over you. As the famous quote attributed to Buddha explains, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Forgiveness can be a profound act of self-love and empowerment. It's a choice to release the hold that resentment has over your life and to open yourself to healing, growth, and deeper connection with others. If you are still here, I would like to say thank you for being supportive and for being a part of the Wisdom Nuggets family. May the Divine God bless you with a prosperous life. I wish you a beautiful day.